each week and eating a diet rich in fruits, veggies, and whole grains, here's 5 more things you can do to lower your risk for certain types of cancer. Avoid midday sun and use sunscreen. Maintain a healthy weight. Prioritize quality sleep and get plenty of vitamin D. And have regular medical checkups and health screenings, especially if there's a history of cancer in your family. Screening for breast and cervical cancer, colon, prostate, and skin cancer should be at the top of everyone's list. Early detection can be the key to effective treatment and a higher quality of life. For more, visit us on Facebook or at familyhealthcheckup.org.
I'm Staff Sergeant Mark Anthony Madrid.
Staff Sergeant Samantha
I'm
Cowell.
Staff Sergeant
I am
Alex
Staff
Stevens.
Sergeant William Lewis, and I am proud to defend my family and our nation.
The Air Force Reserve is part of the story of this great nation.
I'm grateful that I have a chance to wear the uniform of the heroes that went before me.
I'm proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference in the world.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen. Even as technology evolves and changes, our commitment to defend and protect this nation remains steadfast. We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving. We celebrate our proud history and look towards an exciting and uniting future. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
And I am proud to be a member.
And I'm proud to serve in the United
And
States.
I am proud to protect our country.
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
The Daytona 500 broadcast live. Powered by Pepsi. WGS Excellent Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Time to let the big dogs eat. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. Thank you guys for listening today. I'm David Hayes along with Old School. Boston 10 will be here shortly. Got a great show on tap for you today. Alan Watson, owner of Golf Plus, joins us in the next segment. We'll get into the NFL offseason and questions surrounding that at 4:30. Defend your stance today at 4:45. I want to ask you guys a question about T-Mac, Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, no injuries. Which of those three have the better career? Tough question, but we'll dig into that at 4:45. 5 at 5, the top 5 games of the day. Big SEC basketball games on. We've got Auburn and Vanderbilt tonight at 7:30. We'll get you to the coverage for that tip-off at 8. Kim Kuhn is going to be joining us at 5:15 today. She works with MRN. She's basically an interview specialist and done a lot of cool things. She was actually on The Bachelor as well. So we'll dig into NASCAR and questions with Kim Kuhn at 5:15. First round mock draft at 5:30, and all the scores from the high school area and some more U.S. Olympics and not a sad situation, but man, U.S. hockey. They were playing really good hockey last night, and I thought that we were going to, move on. And if we would have moved on to the semifinals, that would have guaranteed us a medal finish. But it just didn't play out like that. They ended up going to overtime. Slovakia scored a goal in the last minute of the game to tie it up, and they played a 10-minute 3-on-3 overtime and then go to a shootout and ended up losing their 3-2. We'll dive into that more at 5:45 today, but Canada's out as well, so it's wide open for the world right now. And I'm telling you right now, there's a kid on Slovakia named Slavosky, I believe his last name is. And that kid is Yari Slavosky, and that dude, he reminds me of a Kucherov. Even though he's not Russian, he's Slovakian, but dude, the kid, he's like the only guy, he stands out because he wears a mask, but that kid is really good. I would not be surprised whatsoever if Slovakia takes the gold medal home, because their goalie last night played excellent. I mean, dude, gosh, we'll get into more of this at 5:45. 850-215-6290. Give us a call at any point in time. Aaron Rodgers has been denied 2 rings in the same year, according to TMZ. It's over between Aaron Rodgers and Shailene Woodley. I don't know. I don't keep up with this stuff, but they have called off their engagement after less than 2 years together. And this is where we're at in in the sports world right now. Football's over, but to me, it's not necessarily the fact that he's not with her anymore, but you don't make it to the Super Bowl when y'all had so many reasons to be in the Super Bowl, and then we always talk about how it just doesn't work out with Aaron Rodgers and his significant others, and here we are again. So what this signifies to me is if this dude can't even get it right in his personal life, how's he supposed to get it right with his next team? What you think? What's going on, Boston
Well,
Tim?
listen, man, what a beautiful day. Thank you guys for having me. As always, I love being here with you guys. Beautiful day to wake up in amazing Panama City Beach, Florida. Unbelievable here, man. What an amazing day it was today. At any rate.
Did you watch the honors, the television broadcast for the NFL Honors Awards? Did you see?
Actually, Adam Goff did. I was watching.
Did you see what he was wearing?
No.
I did see his outfit.
The man was wearing a corduroy
Yeah.
suit. The guy makes what, $40 million a year? He's wearing.
He's just trying to bring it back, man.
Suit.
He's just like you. He's just got an old soul.
He probably paid $4,000 for it too.
You used to wear corduroy suits all the time, I'm sure.
I have never owned a corduroy. I had a corduroy sport coat.
When you was a kid and your parents were dressing you up, you didn't have a corduroy suit?
I never had a corduroy suit.
All right.
My father was a clothes horse.
Okay.
The Reverend. he wouldn't. He had to have the good stuff.
I used to hate wearing those jeans back in the day, man. That's such an uncomfortable.
Corduroy jeans. This guy he's an NFL superstar quarterback, and he's wearing a corduroy suit, and he walks. He's making this speech, and I can't listen to what he's saying because I'm looking at this outfit, and I'm like, well, who's this PR person? Somebody's got to
old
look at him
school, the
and say,
fashionista over
somebody's
here.
gotta say to him, "Man, dress appropriately."
Hey, Old School does look sharp every single day. Mrs. Old School.
Miss
Old School kills it.
She does.
There's no doubt. The starch, the iron keeps the shoes right. My man is always on top of things.
Fresh.
I'll tell Mrs. Old School y'all are
talking you up.
Talking me up.
All
63 years fresh, baby.
What was the New York Jets' nickname when the franchise was founded in 1959? 850-215-6290. Let's play some trivia for your chance to win $25 to not the, but that boot store. 25 to Rib Crib, and they've got not bike night. Nope, it's Ribs and Rides tomorrow night, starting around 4, and then a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. We're the Afternoon Underdogs, and we're on the radio at 104.3 FM, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and with our TV partner, Blab TV. Make sure that you, on your Roku or your Fire Stick, whatever you got out there, get the Blab TV app. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, download the new app, and register, all at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. The Bengals, according to Coach Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow has a sprain, and he won't need surgery. You've seen him limping off of the field after Super Bowl 56. He aggravated a sprained MCL in his right knee. Coach said he doesn't believe Burrow's going to need surgery, but he might. He doesn't think that he's going to need surgery for his pinky finger either. But so there's a couple of ailments that he had. The good thing is this is on the right knee. His original injury from 2020 was the left knee, and that was the ACL and MCL. And they've also rewarded Coach with an extension through the 2026 season. He's only 38. What's next for the Bengals, guys?
Well, to go back with Joe quickly, I mean, is that good? Is that better that he's hurt the other knee? Or would you rather rehab the knee that you've already been rehabbing, knowing that you have the strength in your plant leg, right? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, in the old days, if you had multiple knee injuries, then you were going to lose speed, you're going to lose maneuverability, you're going to, all that stuff. But with today's medicine, it seems like you would be better off to have hurt the knee that you've already rehabbed.
Right.
Instead of, now you got two bad knees. Instead of having one bad knee, one good knee, now you have two bad knees.
Right.
I don't know.
And maybe we can call in, is it
Dr. Chad
Mitchell?
Maybe Dr. Chad
maybe he could tell us, which would be better. I know you can do, cadaver ACLs and things like that nowadays. So, why not replace one with, one that's perfectly fine if it were an ACL and an MCL, same
if it's
concept.
just a strain, then,
right.
I mean, all he's got to do is just rest and rehab, right?
Yeah, and you got some time to rest and rehab, and hopefully is another good thing or another good adjective there because who knows? Or that's an adverb
We've seen
actually,
it.
but
Mama Hayes almost.
boy, I'm
missed it
telling
across
you
the
right
way.
now, I was homeschooled up until 10th grade, so yeah, she
Yes.
does comment sometimes. But even when I was growing up, you know, the South in me sometimes would just be like, I don't care. Do you know how we hear these words sometimes? Anyways, let's get over the phone line. We've got Bob on the line. Bob, can you tell me what the New York Jets nickname was when the franchise was founded in 1959?
Yeah, I believe that was the Titans.
Yes, sir. You're 100% right. New York Titans, you get $25 to that boot store, $25 to the Rib Crib, and 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Have you ever been to the studio before?
No, I have not.
All right. Do me a favor and now shoot me a text over to 850-215-6290, same number that you called, and I'll be able to take care of you via text.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the call, Bob. That is a great win there. And then I also, Raider Dennis stopped by today and dropped me off some Tennessee Titans T-shirts. One of them's going to go to my dad, and the other one I'm going to give to, it's an extra large shirt. So if you're a Tennessee Titans fan and you wear an extra large shirt, give me a call, second hour of the show. First Titans fan to call me in the second hour of the show is going to be getting a free extra large Tennessee Titans.
It's not a 2X, is it?
Cricket.
It's an
cricket.
XL.
Cricket.
It's an XL. Well, hey,
calling
I'll
in
call
from
in
the
for myself
Titans
then. I'll
fans.
call
Yeah,
in.
they're
Come on, we got
Titans
military bases around here. Nashville's a beautiful place. This is a great place to vacation. We've got to have
Absolutely.
another Tennessee Titans fan in the Panama City area or wherever you're listening or watching. What else you got? So they got the extension there. How about this? The commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver's come out and said that it just doesn't make sense what they're doing with Kyrie Irving. How is it okay for someone to be on the visiting team, and yet they're allowed in the Barclays Center being unvaccinated, but one of their very own isn't allowed? So now we're starting to actually use common sense, which is incredulous to me right now in the day and age that we're in. So what do you guys think, though? I'm kind of surprised that
The thought of him using that word is incredulous.
Wow.
Is it not?
That is,
I've been reading the dictionary, folks.
yeah.
So he's pulling something up on his phone to make sure Mama Hayes wouldn't yell at him. He's like, what can I do to cover up whatever I just said 3 minutes ago?
Are you surprised, though, that Silver's kind of stepping out and saying something like this?
Oh, I'm
being the
surprised.
commissioner?
I'm surprised that 38 games in, he's saying something. Why don't you wait until the playoffs, Adam? Come on, man. You should have known after the week one, after 7 games of other teams coming in and this already being an issue, you should have already made a point to have acknowledged this, gotten some form of an investigation going on, and gotten to the bottom of it and made a decision by now.
Right.
It's already the All-Star break, and you're just now getting to the point where you're stating something about it. I just think he's behind the ball.
No, he's playing to the media. I mean, back where 2 months ago, he couldn't say that in the media, or he'd have gotten roasted for being a conspiracy theorist.
So now the media is
But now
changing
that-
their
so
viewpoint.
now that the media is starting to soften on their viewpoint, now he can go ahead and say what he wants to say. That's just the way it is, man. I mean,
Sad
you
that
saw the
that's
Super
true.
Bowl. You saw the Super Bowl.
Politics everywhere.
I mean, even the mayor, the governor of California, they were at the Super Bowl. I didn't see a mask.
Yeah, they had them on their ears.
They didn't have them.
They had them on their ears.
No, they didn't.
I seen a picture with them on their ears, but they had that.
They're
It's just an accessory at that point, huh?
So the only masks I saw were on the football players.
Yeah.
Barely any
And
masks
the
out there.
orchestra, the youth orchestra that was playing outside had
Oh yeah, I see. That's what's stupid to me is like, okay, outside wear a mask where there's a lot of air out there, but when you're indoors, boy, take that thing off. We want you to be able to breathe right.
Make sure.
All right, let's move on.
80,000
from
people
this.
here. We don't need to be wearing masks.
Let's move on from that.
45 in the symphony.
LA County District Attorney won't charge Adrian Peterson after the arrest in the domestic violence case. His case is now going to be referred to the LA City Attorney, who will examine the case and still could charge Peterson with a misdemeanor. But his wife, Ashley Peterson, came out and she said, "We just had a disagreement. I know the headlines, domestic violence. You think I'd oh wait, actually this is from Adrian." Said, "You think I beat her up or something?" It was nothing like that. And she said, "This is essentially, basically, she was getting to the point of, it's not really y'all's business. Let's keep this out of this more respectfully for our children, right? Like, you know what I mean? So they're going to be handling that, but he could still be charged with a misdemeanor in Major League Baseball world. We're not getting any good news, but Washington Nationals' Ryan Zimmerman is going to be retiring after 16 Major League Baseball seasons. Old school, what does that lead you to believe?
What does that lead
What you
me to
told me
believe?
yesterday, what's it lead you to believe?
That there's not going to be any baseball this year.
Right, especially when they come out and say, "All right, we're gonna have universal DH." I mean, it could just be time for him to hang it up. But right, that's what I'm getting at. On a time when the National League, you're about to be able to get some extra longevity there, and you're gonna call it quits. So I'm right there with you. There's a great possibility. No baseball this year, man.
I mean, every day that goes by, I'm feeling more and more disturbed that I don't think that we're going to have a baseball season this year. I think they're going to yell and scream at each other and call each other's names, and all they're going to do is float up different platforms, trial balloons in the press to get fans either on their side or against them, and we're not going to have any baseball for Ryan Zimmerman, who's always been an unbelievable guy at the plate, and he's just gotten too old to really cover. This is the perfect scenario for him, and he's going to retire now?
Yeah.
After 16 years? No, there's
Barrett's got a good point, though. He says longer for the Braves to celebrate.
That's true.
And it's true. We're going back to back, baby.
I think it's time for Ryan to hang it up. Statistically, this was his second worst season in his career. And so, I mean, unless you think you're going to have an absolutely better or outstanding season next year, it's time for you to wrap it up, you know?
What about Juan
If anything,
Soto?
maybe become a DH or something, but you would never.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
You would never
could now be
back
a DH.
that.
He
You'd
could
never
be a
back
DH.
that. You would never back that.
I'm not.
Because National League designated hitter, not universal. Real quick before we get to a break, Juan Soto turned down before the lockout 13-year, $350 million deal. Instead, he wants to do it year by year. Like it?
I like it. I mean, I'd like for a guy to stand up and say, hey, let me go prove myself every year.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it, but with the lockout, chances are there's a probability that caps are going to drop.
Oh, you're
significantly,
right about that.
man.
He should have taken that money.
Significantly. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Y'all go check out Blue Sky Express Car Wash.
My forecast overnight, partly cloudy skies, 55 to 60, and east wind about 10-12 miles per hour. There's a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Thursday night. Partly to mostly cloudy, windy, south wind up to 30. The high Thursday around 72, 58 Thursday night. More showers expected Friday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Offord Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
It's back. Keep listening for your chance to win $1,000 in the Grand Slam of cash. Listen for the code word weekday mornings at 8:45 during the Coach James Hale Show and at 4:45 with the Afternoon Underdogs. When you hear the code word, enter it at ESPNPC.com or on the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app. There will be two $1,000 winners every week.
$1,000 in cash. Wow.
And the Grand Slam of cash.
Make Diego's Burrito Factory and Margarita Bar on Thomas Drive your football headquarters. Catch all of your favorite teams and the biggest games while enjoying the best Mexican food on the beach. Diego's Burrito Factory also has beer and margarita specials during every live football game. Diego's Burrito Factory, Thomas Drive and Front Beach Road. Diego's Burrito Factory. Come let us roll you a fat one.
What are you so happy about? I'm on the pill. Aren't you two a bit old to worry about having more kids?
Not her, me.
You lost me there, buddy.
Steelman pills. Things weren't always looking up, if you catch my drift. So, my doctor prescribed me a little something.
Like Viagra?
Yeah, but that's expensive, and it wasn't covered by my insurance. Steelman pills cost me less than $3 a pill, and virtually the same effect. I just called and got over 40 pills for only $99.
I have this friend who might be looking.
Well, if your friend want some help, the consultation is free over the phone. No clinic. Steelman Pills sends it in the mail in a confidential package.
I'm on it. I mean, my friend will be on it.
Steelman Pills, going the extra mile to help men with erectile dysfunction.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And we've got Alan Watson in the Rib Crib Radio Room with us. He's the owner of Golf Plus. And if you haven't been out there to Golf Plus at the Shops of Edgewater, you need to go out there. They will get you fit and ready to go. And not only that, they have some awesome merchandise there as well, especially if you are a Marvel fan. So, Alan, welcome in. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. Thanks a lot for having me. Always good to be here with you guys. And today's weather was kind of golf perfect, so it's got people really thinking. I know we had a couple of fittings today. We got like 4 on the books for tomorrow, so already really busy. And yeah, we're just building, fitting, fixing, a lot of repairs. Just it's golf season, so we're doing it.
So you brought some goodies in with us. Let's take a look at what you guys got going on over there.
I was thinking about the fact that the world has kind of turned into crossover kind of stuff. Like when I saw Brooks Koepka in the Michelob Ultra commercial or whatever on the Super Bowl, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know that I've ever can remember seeing a golfer in a commercial. And so, but anyway, so we've got some new stuff from Volvic. We've got this. This is just one. I've got a whole series from Marvel. I've got the Captain America cap and the bag that goes with it. I don't know if y'all can get that in the shot, but anyway, I've got the bags. I've got like 5 different Marvel bags, different hats. We've got golf balls. So like this is the Hulk pack.
Dude, those things are sweet, man.
And each one of the packs, I've got Thor, I've got Hulk, I've got Spider-Man. They all come with the golf balls and then a ball marker and a hat clip. So very cool, fun stuff. It's sort of a collectible thing, but then I guess you could play with them if you wanted to. Now this one is really for the fan. You've got Punisher, Captain America, all that kind of stuff. So again, it's not the traditional stuff. I'm not rolling in here with Pro V1s and TP5s, but this is just kind of shows you kind of where golf is going, where we're having a little fun with it. We're mixing culture with golf. You see guys like Adam Scott, who's now wearing Uniqlo clothes, which is not a traditional golf brand. They're a Korean brand of clothing. My wife loves their clothes. Just you go to their stores and it's like all different kinds of clothing. It's not necessarily golf at all, but yet they're picking up and saying, you know what, let's get a major golf guy to put our logo on. So I think we're just seeing, we've seen it since the time of Palmer, where you start, hawking motor oil and beer and cigarettes and all of that. But I think you're seeing it more now when somebody like Koepka comes along and they go, okay, we don't have to have him just selling golf clubs or just selling a golf shirt. We can have him in a Super Bowl ad. I thought that was pretty huge considering how many professional athletes might be more recognizable to the masses. Look at all the Subway commercials. They're full of pretty much just football and basketball players, right? No golfers in those. So anyway, but yeah, we're selling a little bit of everything. We've even got some other brands coming in. We've got Corksicle coming in, which is a drinkware line. Very popular on the beaches because it keeps everything cold or hot, but mostly you'd want it cold down here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of drinkware, coolers, that kind of stuff. Very boutique-y kind of premium brand. We've got Oakley sunglasses on the way, so we'll be doing those. We've got Garmin, GPS type stuff, mostly for golf, but we would also have access to the other stuff. So yeah, we're trying to bring in some new brands and bring in some new things and, just mix it up with golf.
It's nice that you have reasonable prices too. You're right there in the middle of Panama City Beach, where things can be pricey, and your prices are very reasonable. And I like that. I've gone in there and got 4 or 5 hats and a couple shirts now, and I really enjoy that about you guys. You could easily jack the price up because you're right there in the middle of everything at Edgewater, like I said, but you don't. You keep the prices very reasonable, which is great.
We definitely try to stay right where the minimum advertised price is, where the companies will let us go. We're not, we're not cheaper than anybody else, but we're not more expensive. We're just right where we're supposed to be. We've even gotten some new shirts in recently from FootJoy that are $78 retail shirts. We've got them at $49.99 while they last. So yeah, we're trying to do some stuff like that. Boston Tim, trying to just, again, I'm not trying to come into the beach and be a beach store. I'm a golf shop. I just happen to be at the beach, right?
That is
I love it.
Great way to put that.
It's great.
So speaking of changes, right? You're talking about the world of golf changing.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about number 16 at TPC Scottsdale and the changes that are going on there?
Well, I think that whole, it's kind of interesting. Usually we talk about golf tournaments, right? We talk about the Masters. We talk about the U.S. Open. We talk about, whatever. It's interesting that tournament has become known for one hole, and not even for the hole itself, but for the fan behavior and all that. For me, I guess it's okay to a certain degree. Maybe I'll sound like a fuddy-duddy if I say I don't really think it was appropriate for them to throw beer cans on the green and all that. I mean, from a safety standpoint, from a just decorum standpoint, I went to school in the early 90s at University of Alabama, and at the Alabama-Georgia game in I want to say it was 93 or 4. I'm in the student section. There was a bad call, or everybody assumed it was a bad call, right, in the end zone, right in front of the student section, and the field just got littered with cups. Back then you couldn't have alcohol, but except what you snuck in. But anyway, but there was just cups everywhere.
Never happened.
And so then the refs had to threaten everybody, hey, we're going to empty out the student section before we finish this game, and we're going to send you all home. And I was really not proud of everybody around me doing that. I thought it was, if you want to yell and, jeer the refs or whatever, fine. But to throw things, even if it's not something that could hurt anyone, Tennessee,
right.
It just didn't seem right. And so that's the way I think of 16. It's like, to a certain point, yell as loud as you want, have as much fun as you want, but there's got to be some limit.
Yeah, I think that's where Dave and I, when we were talking about it on the air, was, I love the stadium feel and going into the, where it's surrounded by the fans, and how the players have accepted it, and they're trying to hype up the crowd so that they get as much noise as possible. But whenever, and I don't have a problem with them throwing water or beer up in the air, but just not throwing the cups and the cans out onto the golf course, and particularly on all the way out to the green, because if you don't play golf, you don't realize just how the turf can be easily damaged. The putting green can, and then the superintendent has to work like crazy to get those imperfections out of the greens.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't walk into a shopping mall and just throw our cup into the middle of the hallway as we're walking to a store. We don't drive down the road and chuck our leftover half-eaten McDonald's sandwich out into the middle of the road. That's littering. So why are we doing it in a sports venue? And then, I wasn't super proud of golf fans for that. At the same time, the world that we live in right now has gotten a little more lax in terms of the rules, and we're starting to see people and fans just take these, and let's face it, tickets to these events can get expensive. And so sometimes people have a little bit of a sense of entitlement of, I paid blank, so therefore I get to do whatever I want, which isn't true, but we've certainly all, seen that type of behavior before. The part that people forget is the guy next to you also paid the same amount of money, and he doesn't want to have to put up with that, or should not have to be subjected to that. So while you are within your rights, I guess, you're also bothering other people, right?
Mm-hmm. But I just, the part that I like about it is the fact that this golf tournament has decided to do something unique and different, and the players have it. They've adopted it, and they're trying to hype it up as much as possible.
Sure.
My fear is that whenever the fans start getting out of control, they have to dial it back. And so at what point do they start saying, no, you can't have beer there? Well, then all of a sudden, guys don't want to go there anymore. Right. And then it completely changes what is a really cool thing for the PGA Tour, and is now being copied at other tournaments.
Sure.
What's the long-term implications of this?
I mean, I think it'll be draft beer from now on, right?
It should be draft beer.
Make it easy.
Pour it in your hand, and that's all you get. So that was no
foam cups.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
I mean, definitely other tournaments are going to try to find ways to have fan involvement, but I think there's fan involvement, and then there's just being nasty people, you know, or whatever. And again, I don't think, it wasn't ill will towards anyone. They weren't trying to hurt anybody, Tennessee. It was definitely just more of celebration, and that's what they had in their hands. Nobody carries pom-poms to a golf tournament, right? If they do, they're really in the wrong place. That would look really weird. But, sports are becoming interactive. People are wanting to be on the sidelines. They're going to want to be in the action. People realize that they're on TV. I mean, we saw that back in the 80s with the first guy with the clown head and the John 3:16. So people are starting to, look at the college campuses where it's like, well, we're not going to let you sing that song anymore if y'all keep swearing in the middle of it or whatever. So we're starting to see, but the problem is once these precedents have been set, like you said, old school, extremely difficult to dial it back. It's really extremely difficult to tell 15,000 people to calm down. Right. One or two, maybe. It's hard to do it with a big crowd.
I wonder your thoughts on this week coming up. We've had almost a full month, right, of celebrations in Los Angeles with the NFC Championship over there, and then the continuation into the Super Bowl now. And so with this week coming up, the Riviera, the Los Angeles Open will be played there. Do you think that any of that fan celebration will kind of roll over onto the golf course, and there'll be the continuation from this past week, and maybe see something similar this week?
That's a really tough question because you're talking two different sports, but I think that, just have a good feeling over in California. Restrictions are starting to be lifted. The world's starting to open up again. I just heard a statistic earlier on the radio from some big college. They said that, 7 days ago we had 460,000 COVID, positive tests. This week it was only 130, 7 days later, right? So 130,000. So things are getting better. California is opening up. I think people are just going to be excited to just be outside, be at a sporting event. Whether they care whether the Rams won or not, who knows? But I think the golfers, you might even see somebody wear a jersey or something just to have a little fun with the crowd.
Right,
you might see something like that. That would be great.
And then, right, and with the Bengals having been in there, and of course this is the TGR Foundation. It's Tiger will be his first time coming back. Also, since it's the Genesis, it's his golf tournament, right? So my thoughts are, maybe Tiger does a little something, a little Bengal look to him to see, throw a little extra out there for it.
He's playing or just going to be there?
No, he's just going to be there.
Okay,
It's just,
okay. I was about
no.
Whoa,
He's far from
breaking news.
He actually just said he had a conference at 4 o'clock, and he said that he's not anywhere near close to competitive golf, but he's excited to be back there. So
that's exciting.
Boston Tim breaking big knowledge here on. I'm just kidding.
Hopefully, after all these years, knowing how much he's made, maybe he'll make the right decision and just use a driver. Let somebody else drive you around, Tiger.
That's right. Yeah. No, I think it's exciting. Anything Tiger has his name on, anything he's a part of, is good for golf. And obviously, we look forward to seeing him come back. But yeah, it should be a good week, and it's always beautiful weather out there, so it'll be good viewing on the TV, watching those guys play.
Cannot wait for it. As always, Alan, thanks so much for stopping by. Y'all go see Alan Watson and Golf Plus at the Shops of Edgewater, and go get you some of that new Marvel gear, man. That stuff is looking awesome. You got the Captain America bag here, you got that Captain America hat, and then you got a whole collection, a nice collection of Marvel golf balls, and then he brought the Hulk in as well. Lots more out there at the Shops of Edgewater. We're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, we'll be going over what we might think will happen in the NFL offseason that is now upon us.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus, more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs. Or come see us on Commercial Drive off Jinx Avenue in Panama City.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
What's up, everybody? David Pollock here with Barbaritos. Did you know that Barbaritos has 35 farm fresh ingredients? That means you have over 3,000 entree combinations that you can put on your plate. Luckily, Barbaritos put together their 9 under 500 calorie menu, which features 9 different entrees that you can feel great about eating. Try the ground turkey salad with double protein, the mini chicken burrito, or my personal favorite Friday meal, fish tacos with guacamole. It's a winning play with Barbaritos.
Are you looking for a transmission man you can count on to do the job right? Then turn to Marlon Ducker at Mr. Transmission. They've been on the corner of 15th Street and Harrison Avenue for the past 33 years. Whether you're driving a car, truck, van, or sport utility, they'll find the problem using their state-of-the-art electronic diagnostics equipment and years of experience. That's Mr. Transmission on the corner of 15th and Harrison, or just a phone call away at 769-4477.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Hot takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room, and I want to bring a little attention real quick to Noah Strong. So this is about Noah Collins. We're going to be having a cornhole tournament. This is going to be a fundraising event for Noah Collins, who's a firefighter for South Walton. This is going to be Thursday, March 3rd, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Loose Hills Kitchen. That's the address there is 60 Seascape Drive, Miramar Beach, Florida, 32550 is the zip code there. And Lucille's will be donating a percentage of all food and beverage sales to Noah. The cornhole tournament, like the winners will get some money, but then the rest of the money will be going to him. So basically what happened, if I remember correctly, I got to get a little bit more details surrounding this. I just found out about it today, but Noah was trying to help someone who was on the side of the road with an accident or were having car problems, and then he got swiped by a F-250 and is currently in Atlanta right now. And so he was trying to help someone. So Paul Davis Restoration, Scott Brooks, they're trying to come together to do something for Noah. He was trying to help someone else. Let's help this guy out. And not only that, he puts his life on the line daily as a firefighter. So that, you know, if you want any more details on that, just get up with me. But let's plan to, and there's going the second, so he's going to run like 3 different tournaments, and the second one is going to be all fire departments from like Panama City to Pensacola. This is going to be a great time. So I don't want to say it like that, but it will be a fun time, but also for a great cause. And I want y'all, if you can make yourself available Thursday, March 3rd from 3 to 9 p.m., absolutely do that. Let's put on a big show for Noah Collins, South Walton firefighter. We also have Vanderbilt and Auburn tonight. Coverage will start for that one at 7:30, and then we'll get you to the tip 8 o'clock. Auburn and Vanderbilt. Chris Godwin plots free agency. He said he could come back to the Buccaneers, but it's his first chance, first crack at free agency. So, you know, he might take a look at what's going to happen. And then you also have the question mark for now at quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kyle Trask is your only one that's on the roster. There's thoughts of Russell Wilson. There's thoughts of Deshaun Watson even. But what's a good fit for Chris Godwin? Is it going back to the Bucks and kind of being the 1A, 1B guy, really the 1B compared to Mike Evans, but they play two different types of styles of wide receivers? What's a good fit for Chris Godwin? We'll go with Boston Tim first because Old School's busy.
Well, it's really, it's been a great fit for him there, right? Between he and Mike Evans on either side, whenever one of them, and it's almost every play, has to be double teamed, then the other one's going to have a good opportunity on a one-on-one situation. So if he wants to continue to have a positive impact and have a great role player on the opposite side of him, there's not a ton of teams that are going to be available for him to go to within the salary cap that they have and the amount of money that he's going to demand. So I think it probably in his best interest would to stay where he's at. Like we said, he still had Kyle Trask as a quarterback who's a decent, sizable quarterback who played behind Brady and had the opportunity to learn, a lot of things over the course of the last two seasons. So, we have that. And then there's absolutely still the opportunity for them to go out there in the portal, or not the portal, but go out there in free agency and find somebody else. So for me, if I were him, I think he would want to stay there.
I mean, I totally agree. I mean, there's only certain places where when the elements all fit together. And, that combination of Brady and Evans and Godwin, I mean, it was just, wow, what a great passing game.
Right.
Now with Brady maybe retiring, he may be coming back, but maybe retiring. I just don't know where else Godwin could go and find that where he's not going to get double teamed every time. Where he's,
right.
If he wants to be the A guy, you're going to get double teamed every time. This way, he can still be the, maybe the 1B as David called him, or 1A, and I just think it's a great fit. And the whole point is they're going to get a good quarterback. If Kyle Trask doesn't turn out to be what some of us think Kyle Trask is going to be, with that kind of talent, they're gonna find somebody that can come and play quarterback there without any problem.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And it would be interesting to see how they perceive Kyle Trask. How good do you think Kyle Trask is at this moment? Is he Jordan Love status, where, come on, we need Aaron Rodgers as bad as as much as we possibly can, or do you go if you can land a Deshaun Watson, or if you can land a Russell Wilson, bringing in one of those veterans, and the Bucs are going to do whatever they can to keep Chris Godwin because look at what he's done for him. And you can make the argument, and I think it's a very valid argument, if he's healthy in that playoff run or at the end of the season into the playoff run, that game against the Rams, totally different look, man. When you've only got one real receiver, like Rashad Perriman, Scotty Miller, and all of those guys are your supporting cast. And so your top DBs are going to be all eyes on Mike Evans. So the Bucs could have definitely been back to the Super Bowl. Will a new contract? I think Chris Godwin, though, is more than likely going to stay in Tampa Bay if they get the quarterback. Even if it's Jameis Winston coming back, which I think is on the radar for him. It could very well be. I think that Godwin would definitely think about staying.
I mean, they're right in the middle of the pack as far as the NFL goes, with $19.5 million of cap space, which that's before Brady's decision to retire, right? So his $8.5 million base salary, which is a little over $20 million with incentives and bonuses throughout the year, they could take that $8 million and put it on top, which puts them at $27.5, maybe $28 million, and that really gives you a good opportunity right there. You can just about afford any top tier quarterback outside of an Aaron Rodgers, top three guys who have really already committed anyway. So like you said, a Deshaun Watson, somebody like that is a very viable option for them to go after and get. And now that he's looking for teams officially, I think that that's somebody they may actually go for.
So let's go over to Deshaun Watson. The two teams at the top of his list, it was the Dolphins and the Steelers and the Panthers. I don't think any one of those teams, outside the Steelers, I think the Steelers would be a very interesting tandem with Mike Tomlin and Deshaun Watson. That could be scary for especially the team who was just in the Super Bowl, the Cincinnati Bengals, because now you've got a revamped Pittsburgh Steelers team with a quarterback who is the extreme opposite of what they had last year in just the terms of mobility. in just the terms of mobility. But the two teams that seem to be on the top of the list for Deshaun Watson right now are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then this one's surprising, but I get it, the Minnesota Vikings. And what does that do? You know, if it's Minnesota Vikings, then you got to think that Kirk Cousins is going to be somewhat involved in that deal. Maybe not directly, but someone else is going to get a chance to have a crack at putting Kirk Cousins on their roster. And then you've got Dalvin Cook, you've got Adam Thielen, and you got Justin Jefferson. I mean, that's a good spot for Deshaun Watson, especially if they can revamp or get that defense back to where it was 2 years ago.
And really, it could make things interesting for both sides, right? If the Texans have the opportunity to get something in return, a Cousins, something like that, that could be good for them. You know, while Mills did relatively well last year out of nowhere, I don't think anybody expected him to do what he did. He did relatively well. We know that Cousins is a very, very good quarterback, very smart, great decision maker, and with good receivers like he's always had, he has shown to do well. He just hasn't made it into the big games yet. But he has those same opportunities down south in Texas if he were to come down and play in Houston. In AB, of course, in Julio, who we all know absolutely can still come out and have a great season at any point in time. So I think the opportunity is there for both teams to really do well on that.
Wait, did you say something about the Tennessee Titans and Deshaun Watson?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did say Julio.
Yeah, you did say Julio. That's why I was like,
Totally.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad.
No.
I don't know if
you don't want Cousins over there.
No, well, that's my thing. That's what Deshaun Watson taking a year off. We know that he's a great quarterback, but is he a quarterback that can push that team? Like it's not like that's Peyton Manning coming over or Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Like the Texans put some really good products on the field, and they never really got the job done. Is Deshaun Watson a quarterback that you could trust in to push you over the hump, old school?
You know, I mean, he's a good quarterback. I never thought that he was an elite quarterback. I mean, to me, he's Ryan Tannehill, but can really run around.
I think I love my guy, Ryan Tannehill, but I would say that the arm strength and accuracy is probably better with Deshaun Watson. I would say that.
Maybe the arm strength, but the accuracy, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I mean, he's a good quarterback. I'm not trying to be a negative.
Yeah.
I just don't think that he's not in the top echelon. He's not a Russell Wilson. He's not a.
Dude, I
Aaron
don't
Rodgers.
get the love with Russell Wilson. I don't. Year in and year out, and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everyone. Year in, year out, dude starts out extremely hot. Outside of those first couple of years with the Seahawks where the Legion of Boom was there. There's your Super Bowl. The Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson, whenever they get to let Russ cook, he cooks his own team. He cooks their chances to make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, Russell Wilson, yeah, he's good, but it's not about him, man. It's not him that's so good. It's because Pete Carroll put a great team around Russell Wilson, a great defense, and a great running back. And he took pressure off of Russ.
Well, I mean, I agree with you that, Russell was on his rookie deal, so he was getting paid $300,000 a year. And
easier to build around.
Yeah,
Very great
so they
point.
could go get all those superstars to play on defense. But what Russell Wilson is a leader. He's a guy that owns the locker room. There's no question as to who the leader is of that team, and that's when you have a situation like has happened to Deshaun Watson and to the Texans. That's what they need. They got to have somebody that walks in that locker room and says, "All right, boys, I know it's been a mess for the last 3 years. Not anymore."
And does Deshaun Watson have what it takes to go command someone else's locker room after this stuff? But, I mean, we've seen other quarterbacks bounce back from allegations such as these. Not 22 of them, but still, we've seen the bounce backs. The difference in Ryan Tannehill, he's got 133 games. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to just talk about the same thing. Probably Tannehill and Watson.
Yeah.
Who's for me, I think Watson's got a better throwing percentage over the course of his career,
and he's only got 54 games in.
Right.
Whereas Tannehill 133, which will skew it, especially playing with the Dolphins, right? No doubt. But we're looking at a guy with a 64.2 career completion percentage compared to Deshaun, which is 67.8.
Can we take the Miami
just
out?
Under.
And let's just look at what he's been in Tennessee. I know if you can.
I know we don't have
Where's
time
our research
to do
team?
that.
Sure we can. Absolutely.
But 190, while Tim's looking that up, 199 touchdowns for Tannehill compared to 102 interceptions. That's in 133 games with 30,000 career yards. And then for Deshaun Watson, 14,000 career yards over 54 games, 104 touchdowns and 36 interceptions. So those stats, in my opinion, would lead me to believe, especially after a year off or whatever, but I would trust Deshaun Watson just a little bit more. But then again, like you said, the track record with Miami that's not necessarily fair to include it. But the fact is, it happened. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to be right back with Titans only Tannehill versus Deshaun Watson and some Defend Your Stance.
My forecast overnight, partly cloudy skies, 55 to 60, and east wind about 10-12 miles per hour. There's a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Thursday night. Partly to mostly cloudy, windy, south wind up to 30. The high Thursday around 72, 58 Thursday night. More showers expected Friday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Auburn basketball returns to the Auburn Sports Network.
Alley-oop, Cambridge on the weak side. 18 to shoot. Underneath, K.D. Johnson with the right-hand hammer.
Tonight, the Tigers host the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Dumps it. Hardball dunks it. Hessler, double-hand jam. Lobs it. Cambridge, right-hand hammer.
Coverage begins at 7:30 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick. And all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken. All served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Service First Bank, TDJ Contractors, Keller Williams Success Realty, AtYourServicePCB.com, and Nail Garden.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back, and it is time to defend your stance. Brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. They're off this weekend, but next week we will be at Lake Town Wharf. We pity the fool who doesn't use our tools. Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. Michelle Nowalinsky, Caveman Rick do a fantastic job.
And for our Super Bowl, our Grand Slam of Cash competition, we have a new code word for you today. It is the word which I am very familiar with, O. O-W-E-O, as in I owe my life
to the bank
to
and
the
creditors. So if you guys want to go to espnpc.com/contests and enter the word OOWE, then you'll have an opportunity to win one of two $1,000 weekly prizes across the nation. We're very excited get you guys to participate in this. So again, you can either go to espnpc.com/contests, or you can always use the app 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Hit us up, guys. Put in the word O.
OWE. T-Mac, Grant Hill, or Penny Hardaway, if they don't get injured, who has the best career? Boston Tim, you want to start this one, or you want to let the old school go first?
Go ahead, please.
Well, this is a tough one because I like all of them. T-Mac came out. He was great. I really love Penny Hardaway. He was fantastic. He was so good. But Grant Hill. Who his dad was. I think Grant Hill really, the injury to his ankle just made such a big difference there. And so I think Grant Hill would be the guy that I would select out of those three. I think they're all going to be good, but I think Grant Hill is particularly.
I think for me, one of my favorites to watch growing up was Penny Hardaway and Shaq, right? That was a fun duo to watch. But also Tracy McGrady. I think Tracy McGrady was, I mean, if he was on more teams with more players, that dude, he could have been one of the greatest. You know, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily can put him in the conversation with the GOATs or whatever, but that is really tough because Grant Hill, especially back in the day when those Pistons uniforms used to be like that teal color.
Green
with the
metallic horse.
Yeah, bro, I need a jersey like that.
I might have
that.
Let me see what I can pull up.
But so I'll go with mine for T-Mac. Let's get to Boston Tim. Who
Well, I think they're all you can't be wrong, can you? Right?
No.
I mean, T-Mac, Penny. You know, Penny was such a dynamic scorer. Of the three of them, Penny's probably the most dynamic scorer. I think T-Mac was probably the most marketable player. But as far as the game goes, it's Grant Hill, right? I mean, T-Mac, absolutely. He had the better career. After his slew of injuries, he continued to play well. He still made a couple more All-Star games where it wasn't like that for Grant, and then he ended up retiring earlier. I thought retiring early.
Yeah.
But Grant was, I mean, in college, in his first 5 seasons, he was probably the most, if not one of the top 3 most well-rounded players in all of basketball at the time. And you're talking about, for me, the pinnacle of basketball. All right. So
right, for sure.
absolutely, I think it's Grant Hill could have, in my opinion, had the best opportunity to be the greater of the 3 players. But again, I still think T-Mac, unbelievable marketability, and Penny, just an unbelievable scorer. He just was awesome. And like you said, watching him play with Shaq was really fun.
Right State Chris says Grant Hill, even though he went to the Pistons, saw him play live before the injury, and he was unreal. Arch Manning reportedly has whittled him down to 2 schools now, and it's basically one-on-one versus me and old school. Texas or Alabama? Texas or Alabama? Make the case for it, old school. Is that where Arch is gonna land with Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns?
I mean, I think that he likes Sarkisian. He's met him. He's been around him a lot at these camps that he goes to every year, and he's known him since he was 13 or 14. And Sarkisian has always been there. He's always taken time to spend time with him. I think when he came to Austin, he had a great time, on his visits. They really kind of let him just do his thing. It was not as orchestrated. His visit there was much more casual. He spent the majority of his time in his visit in meetings with the coaching staff and the offensive coordinator and understanding, their passing game, and he was taking notes. I mean, he did hang out in the dorm with some of the other recruits and some of the other players, but it was a business trip for him.
Right.
And I think and I think Sark, the fact that I told the story that Sark found the notebook and sent it to him and said, "Hey, I want to make sure this got back to you." I think they have a relationship there, and just because it's he's coming is not going to be the answer for Texas. I think it helps, but it's not one guy doesn't turn the program around.
Yeah, this is one of the most prized recruits though in college football for a while.
I just think that that's the word. That's the thing. There's the relationship, right? And no offense to Nick and his wife, and they always do great in the recruiting and having the kids over to their house and trying to have that one-on-one. But it's not really like that, where with Sark, it is like that, you know, and I think that they've built that. And, you know, I think he has the benefit of having, you know, in Arch, he has the benefit of having generations of football players that have been through all these phases, you know, so he doesn't need the red carpet. He has no desire to walk down the red carpet and have the girls be there and all the teenagers and other kids showing them what can happen in our town. He's not in it for that. This is, like you said, it's business for him, and the relationships matter in business.
Correct.
And I think that's why he's probably going to choose Texas. You go with Alabama? Absolutely. You know,
Right.
There is no wrong choice there, but for himself, the relationship, the standard over there is just different for them, I think.
Well, I want to jump in on this though, because I think either way that he goes it's a good choice for the kid. I think that if Alabama's on your mind, if you're trying to go there to play, I don't know if Alabama can be your first choice, right? You could go to Texas and more than likely, just off name alone, walk in and be the starter there. Alabama, we had Paul Bear Bryant's grandson, and he had to transfer out because he just didn't get enough reps. So I don't think that the Manning name is actually going to get you the starting position with Alabama. It's going to be who's the best fit, who's the best chance for them to win the national championship. Now, here's the other caveat. If you want to do unlike what Eli and Peyton did and actually win a national championship in college football, if that's your goal, then there's not even a question between the two which schools you want to go to. There's not national championship aspirations yet for Texas. I mean, obviously there's aspirations, but realistic expectations for national championship for Texas, not yet. Could he be the X factor there? Absolutely. I don't think that his name means as much at Alabama as it would at Texas, but still, could you imagine the magnitude of press that would be if Alabama and Manning were teaming up?
So yeah, but I think that's the difference between Paul's grandson and Arch is Paul's grandson was there because of his name.
Yeah.
If Archie goes there, it's because of his skills.
Yeah, it would.
He
100%.
is absolutely not only physically a better player, but mentally strides ahead of
right. But
almost
the
probably
point,
everybody
the
already
point
in college
was,
football.
Though, is that the name recognition thing isn't going to necessarily work at Alabama. It's
Right.
going to you're
it
not
won't need
guaranteed. But that's
is my thing.
I don't know, because Bryce Young decides he doesn't want to, like, he's going to stay for another year after next year instead of going to the draft. Then you've got, all right, yeah, Arch Manning, but is Arch Manning going to be better than a guy who's been playing college football for 3 years at that point in time, and Bryce Young, who looks pretty confident and pretty comfortable in the pocket? You see what I'm saying? That's kind of where, but if he goes to Texas, I don't care who it is over there at Texas, more than likely it's going to be Arch Manning.
No, you're absolutely right. There's going to be more competition for him to go up against in Alabama. That's where the 4 and 5s are going. Absolutely. And that's where Bryce already is, like you said. But he's that good. We will see.
I cannot wait.
It's not but right around the corner.
I would rather see him in burnt orange, because I think that that could revitalize that Texas program, though I really do think that it could. We're going to be right back. Old School's going to give us some more thoughts on what he thinks of what's going to be going through Arch Manning's mind.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
The Rams' best players were all great. Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Matt Stafford, the best drive by any quarterback. Cooper Kupp, the MVP. The Bengals stars, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 11 to 2, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. Did you know bed bugs are hitchhikers, and you can pick them up anywhere people congregate? Churches, restaurants, buses, and movie theaters? Call us today, and we'll guarantee you a treatment process to get rid of your bed bugs. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
In 22, the thing to do is reboot the whole family at That Boot Store. With name brand Western wear for the smallest to the largest Wrangler is available at That Boot Store. Need durable name brand Carhartt work clothes at a price you can afford? Stop by That Boot Store. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto: always keep Jesus in your new year.
Coram Steak and Egg, home of the world-famous Heavenly Hash, has been family-owned and operated since 1986. Open daily 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Coram Steak and Egg prides itself in offering fresh, never-frozen favorites at family-friendly prices. Come in and check out our daily lunch and dinner specials. Coram Steak and Egg at 804 South Tyndall Parkway, where you never leave hungry. Also available on DoorDash and Grubhub.
Download the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lynn Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the Shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. They said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live.
They say it can't be done. Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back in. It is time for the 5 at 5, and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is going to be presenting the Daytona 500. Since 1959, 500 miles of tradition continues. The flag will be dropping at 1:30 on Sunday. We'll get you to the coverage at 12:30. Listen right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We got Kim Kuhn coming up in the next segment, and now it's time for the 5 at 5.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The top 5 at 5.
Let's get into it, man. So last night we had Duke and Wake Forest play to a real close one. Duke gets the edge, though, 76-74, but Wake Forest covers the spread. Tennessee mollywops Kentucky last night. That score is a lot closer.
Very unexpected.
Yeah, old school called it. Rick Barnes, big games.
Not to everybody in this room.
Nope. Just for me.
Texas.
I called some other ones pretty well, but that one.
That one they got.
Wake Forest I had about spot on.
Tennessee covered the spread, and they were under. Texas over Oklahoma 80-78 in overtime there. Texas covers the spread there. Mavericks ended up going into Miami and winning 107-99 thanks to Mr. Overrated. My guy, anytime I call him overrated and pick him in the same time, I win with him. And then Alexander Ovechkin and the Caps beat the Predators 4-1. Let's get into it tonight. We got some big college basketball games. Got to be quick to get out of here for Kim Kuhn. Number 12, Illinois at Rutgers. 4-point underdogs at the house. Over under set at 135.
Yeah, guys. So this is a solid matchup right here. Unsuspecting, because if you would have said this matchup's coming up a week ago, that I'm like, whatever, Rutgers is going to get run through by Illinois. They've been playing so well lately. Illinois number one in the Big Ten right now. 7-3 in their last 10 games. In their last game that they just won by like 40 something points. But Rutgers, while they're only 6-4 in their last 10 games, their last 3-game win streak has been unbelievable, right? They just knocked off Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Michigan State in their last 3 games, all relatively good victories. So for me, I like actually Rutgers at home with the points, or like the under in this game.
Ooh, with the under, old school.
Well, I like Rutgers. I think that, they're a team that's very good at home. They're not good everywhere that they go, but at home they're tough to beat. And Illinois has had moments of greatness and moments of not so greatness. So I'm going to take Rutgers at home, but I am going to take the – did you take the under?
I did.
I'm going to take the over there.
And I mean, he's absolutely right about that. In case anybody's listening and is wondering, 12-2 at home, the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah. Ooh, man. Illinois wins by 5, but they're going to get the under. I'll take Illinois tonight. Top 25 matchup. Very close to a top 10 matchup here. Number 7, Baylor at number 11, Texas Tech. Boston, Tim.
This is going to be one of the, probably if not the more exciting game of the evening. Again, number 7, number 10, two of the greater teams, number 2 and number 3 respectively in the Big 12. We've got 7-3 for Texas Tech and 6-4 over the last 10 games for Baylor. Everybody's looking good, right? Both teams are right on. Well, we got a 21-win team and a 19-game win team, right on the cusp of 20 wins. Texas Tech's been playing great lately, though, right? Baylor's been knocked off a couple times. So for me, I'm going to stick with who's playing well and who's having the run right now, and it's Texas Tech. They're getting given 1.5 point as of right now, and it's 136. I think there'll be a great defensive matchup here. I'm going to take the under again and Texas Tech.
All right. What you got, Old School?
Well, I love Texas Tech in Lubbock. I mean, that's the thing. It's again, they're a great squad, but they are so much better at home. But Baylor, they've been on a slide for a little while. I think Baylor is going to have to make a statement. Baylor needs a statement game, so I'm going to take. I think they're going to get it tonight. I'm going to take Baylor, and I'm going to take the over.
All right. I'm stuck between this one, but Texas Tech at the house, like you said, so I think I'm going to go with the beardless Red Raiders tonight. They're going to be smooth baby faces, getting the win, and I'll take the – oh, man, they just play so much defense. I'm going to take the under in this one. Mississippi State at number 25, Alabama. Alabama 6.5-point favorite at the house.
What would have been a couple of weeks ago, again, same concept as Rutgers, a really good SEC matchup. Mississippi State has just gone on the wayside as of recently. Their last 3 games, 3 consecutive losses, all in the SEC. That's huge. So they've dropped all the way from 6th place down to 9th place in just 3 games. So as of right now, you see the opposite out of Alabama, 2-game win streak, both SEC opponents. Their last 2 losses were against great teams. So I'm looking at Alabama. Excuse me. I'm looking at Alabama to get this victory by a substantial amount. 6.5, I think, is too small of a gap here. I think it's going to be double digits easy. Alabama by 11 or 12 and the over. High-scoring game. All
right, Old School.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with Tim. I think Alabama comfortably handles Mississippi State. This could be a 20-point game. It easily could be with Alabama at home when they start raining threes. So I will take Alabama and the over.
And the over. So I'll make it a little different. I'll go with Alabama as well. You never know what you're going to get out of them. It's been a little inconsistent for them for sure this year. But I'll take the under in this game because I can't really see Mississippi State scoring over like 66. So even if Alabama were to score 80, that would be 144 points. I think they'll be slightly under the 150. To the NBA we go. Raptors Timberwolves is the game that caught my eye today. Very similar records, and the Timberwolves at the house are a 2-point underdog.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Very similar records, both number 7. One in the East, obviously, in Toronto. One in the West, obviously, in Minnesota. Both teams looking really good recently. The Raptors, however's defense has been looking exceptional as of recent. They did lose their last 2 games, but of course, one of them was to the Suns. The other one, a game that shouldn't have been lost. They got blown out by the Pelicans. That really came out of nowhere, a 30-point loss. But outside of that, 8-2 in their last 10 games, playing very strong, even on the road. So Timberwolves 17-10 at home this season, a little bit above average. They've been playing well a lot lately, but mostly by scoring a lot of points, but their defense has just been atrocious. So I like Toronto to come in here and beat Minnesota tonight, with or without points. Right now they're given 2.5. So if it were to drop back down to 1 where it started, either way, I like them to come in and win probably 5-6 points. And I like the over. I like the under in this game, 227.5.
Old School.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I like the Timberwolves. I like the way they can score. They can score. And the way you win is you outscore the other team.
Seems to be a commonality in sports.
Yeah.
Weird.
So you got to be able to score, right? And that they can. Tim, you're right. The Raptors are better defensively than the Timberwolves, but I just think at home they're going to get them. So I'm going to take the Timberwolves, and I think it's going to be a scoring bonanza, so I'll take the over.
Timberwolves and the over. Man, I want to go with the team up north, but I'll go with the team who's slightly south of the team up north. I'll go with the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. Karl Anthony Towns, and let me take the over in this game. No, I'll go with the under since I'm on a streak of views right now. And then finally to the NHL we go. Got a good one here. The Florida Panthers visiting Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. Carolina is a -110 favorite, and the over/under slightly higher than normal at 6.5 goals.
Right, and it's odd because both Bobrovsky and Anderson are great goaltenders, and you don't expect that when you have two solid goaltenders. You'd think it would go the opposite way to a 5.5. So something is off to me. I think I'm going to go with the over in this game. Both teams second place respectively in their divisions. The Panthers second place in the Atlantic, and Hurricanes, of course, second place in Metropolitan. 6-3 and 7-3 for the two teams. Both teams again looking great as of recently. And as always, though it didn't work out for me last night, which when do you ever really bet against Ovechkin? But I did anyway. When it's a close game like this, a close matchup, I always take the home team. Both goalies are good, so I'm sticking with the home team either way, and I will take the under in this.
Yep, makes sense. Old school.
Let's see. It's the Florida Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Where do I live?
There you go. Corey's going to be excited about that. Go with the Florida Panthers on the road. Do you like the over or the under, Old School?
I'm going to take the under, please.
All right. I'll go with, Carolina at the house. I'm going to go with the Panthers. I'll go with the Panthers, and I'll go with the under. You got a dog of the day, Boston Tim.
Let me hear yours first.
All right. I've got the Brooklyn Nets, who not doing too hot in their last 10 games against the spread, only 1-9. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games, but 3-5-2 against the spread there. But they're going up against the New York Knicks, who are 2-8 against the spread, and Brooklyn's getting 4.5 points. It's an away game, so that means Kyrie Irving. I'll take the Brooklyn Nets here with 4.5 points. What do you got?
I actually. Brooklyn is one of the two that I like. I like the Jazz. I like the Lakers to beat the Jazz at home tonight as well. They're getting 4.5 points. I don't think they're going to need it. I think they're going to have a good game. It's the late game tonight. It's going to be a high-scoring game as well. So Lakers to clear tonight.
Couple of points. Or a couple of headlines going on. You got Karsten Sabathia, son of former MLB pitcher CC Sabathia, committing to Georgia Tech's baseball program. Giannis last night, 50-point double-double on 21 shots in their win against the Pacers. That's the fewest shots for a player to reach 50 points. Very amazing performance. The guy just continues to blow people's minds. And then Dick Vitale, undergoing vocal cord surgery, will rest voice for 4 more weeks.
Rutgers would be the other underdog I think we all picked. Yeah. And Vitale got home this morning. Congratulations.
Nice. Awesome. I actually went with Illinois in this game just for the heck of it to be a little bit different, but you could very well have a big game from Ron Harper Jr. tonight. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Kim Kuhn.
My forecast overnight, partly cloudy skies, 55 to 60, and east wind about 10-12 miles per hour. There's a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Thursday night. Partly to mostly cloudy, windy, south wind up to 30. The high Thursday around 72, 58 Thursday night. More showers expected Friday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Offord Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your exclusive home for March Madness.
And it goes for the win!
We'll bring you every game live. It's the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament. College basketball's premier event, and it's all right here.
And the dream is alive!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The dream, yes!
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food, on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hill sent you.
Did you know that fees associated with real estate closings are virtually the same from one title company to the next? So what sets South Oak Title apart? Effective communication, customer service, expertise, and technology. If you're buying or selling real estate, refinancing a residential or commercial property, tell your realtor you want to close with South Oak Title. South Oak Title, with locations across the Southeast, including Panama City Beach, Inlet Beach, Destin, and Fort Walton Beach. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
The number one SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida in the Rib Crib Radio Room. Now, welcoming into the Rib Crib Radio Room, we have Kim Kuhn. She's done a little bit of everything at the Motor Racing Network. She's been there since 2015, from on-air social media guru, a pit road reporter, co-hosting the Energy NASCAR Cup Series pre-race. She's well known for her pre-race one-on-one interviews with NASCAR's biggest stars. Kim, how's it going today?
Going great. We knocked out Media Day earlier today, and we're gearing up for qualifying here in just a couple hours.
Oh, that is some good stuff. So first off, was scanning over your Twitter page today, so we would just wanted to say happy second birthday to Archie.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, he's back home in Charlotte, so definitely missing him. He's full personality. The cool thing about Archie, his birthday, he was born on Daytona 500 Sunday, so that's how you know you got the right dog, right?
No doubt. Fun fact there. Is there any correlation to Archie Manning, or how'd you land on the name Archie?
Just like the name. Is that Archie short for Archer? I'm Sagittarius. I don't know. It's just a name I've liked for a really long time.
All right. Love it. So who's your favorite driver to interview?
Oh, goodness. There are so many good ones. Honestly, I think, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, those are guys who will always take the time to give you an interview, even if it's very short or they've had a bad day. They kind of understand the importance of media and that sort of thing. So in terms of respect for what we have to do on the media side, I think those are a handful of drivers that definitely understand it.
Well, Kim, I wonder what are your thoughts on the Gen 7 car and all the updates that they've made on it in the debut of it coming up?
All I can say is how exciting it's been for the last couple of months as we've gotten closer to this point. This week is our first point-staying race with the next-gen car. We saw it do some great things at the LA Coliseum a couple weeks ago at the Clash. And when in talking with teams and drivers, they're fired up about it. It's going to be a new challenge for them. There's still so many unknowns, and that's the fun part. Teams are learning, and talking with drivers today at Media Day, it seems like that's going to be kind of the regular and the standard for a while until they get a handle on, what works for them, what kind of changes they can do that can help the car, which I think is fun, and hopefully it means parity for the sport and some different faces in victory lane that maybe we haven't seen before.
Oh, I like it.
Absolutely. And so of the cars that you've seen thus far, who's the best so far in practice?
Oh, goodness. It's hard to say with practice because we saw 2 practices yesterday, and people are still a little timid to do kind of everything we're going to see them do on Sunday, and we won't even see, 40 cars in a draft until Sunday. But we saw some guys mix it up a little bit with smaller draft packs yesterday, and then a lot of single car runs getting ready for qualifying. I think though, we talk so much about super speedways being, a race of luck, and there is luck that comes into play when we come to Daytona or we go to Talladega. But typically we see a lot of the same names that end up making their way to the front and who are consistently good at these type of racetracks. Like Brad Keselowski, he is a phenom when it comes to super speedway racing. I'll throw Joey Logano in there. Honestly, Team Penske is really good at super speedway races. So looking at Ryan Blaney again, like I said, Joey Logano, we'll see what Brad Keselowski can do now that he's moved over to RFK. And then Denny Hamlin, he's a 3-time Daytona 500 winner. So yes, luck is in favor of these guys, but they also know how to race at these types of racetracks.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're talking with Kim Kuhn of the Motor Racing Network. Who's a young driver, Kim, that we might not have on our radar, but is on yours?
Oh, goodness. There's a couple. I'm really excited to see what Austin Cindric's able to do. This is his rookie year in the Cup Series. We saw him, try a couple of Cup races last year. And then, obviously, he was our NASCAR Xfinity Series champion beforehand in 2020. So very excited to see what he does, especially with this new car because, he's got a bit of a sports car background. This car has been described as a little bit sportier. So very, very excited to see what he's able to do. And, I would still consider guys like Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney kind of the younger talent in the field and just excited to see what they're able to do as well. Ryan's, well established himself as a winner in the Cup Series. We saw Bubba Wallace win Talladega last year. And so I think, just in general, we have a really good young crop of drivers. And it seems like the field is getting younger and younger, which is exciting.
Well, Kim, I mean, this is really cool to talk to you about car racing and automobiles and all of that, but I want to get down to the thing that's really important. How in the world did you manage to become a contestant on my favorite television show of all times, The Bachelor?
Oh, gosh, that was like a lifetime ago. Actually, my sisters nominated me. It was probably not something I would have ever considered doing, but they nominated me. The show wanted me, and if you've never met my older sister, she's a bit of a pusher. So if I had said no, I would have never heard the end of it from her.
So I just have to ask, did Brad not like racing? Is that why there wasn't the connection that everybody was hoping for?
Like I said, I was on The Bachelor a long time ago, so I actually was on the show before I ever worked in racing. So
wow.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe he does like racing. Who's to say?
One more question, we got a couple more, but you graduated from Miami and Alabama, and those teams were paired up against each other for the first college football game of the season last year. I just got to ask, who were you rooting for? Do your roots run deeper with Alabama or Miami since you're a Florida girl?
Definitely roots run deeper for Miami. I cheer for both of them when I can, but definitely when they're playing each other. My allegiance goes to Miami. I spent more time there. It was my undergrad school, which I think leaves a bit of more of an impression on you than your graduate school. And then I also cheered while I was there. So
oh, wow.
It's hard to get out of that mindset when you were on the football field and on the basketball court for game after game after game. It makes you a fan for life.
Well, Kim, it's obvious that you have a great interest in love for racing and NASCAR. I wonder, do you have any other genres of racing that you like? And also, are there any other sports that you enjoy watching?
Yeah, I actually grew up a fan of, lots of different stick and ball sports, was a big college football fan growing up. I cheered in the NFL, so always kind of like to keep tabs on what the guys are doing with the pigskins. And then I like to watch basketball occasionally, especially when it gets to like March Madness time. But in terms of like motorsports, I've covered some different series. IndyCar is really interesting to me. I like the dynamic there. And then I've covered some motorcycle racing, flat track, a lot of bar banging type stuff, like very intense stuff. I've been to a couple MotoGP races. Haven't gotten to an F1 race. That is on my list to eventually get there. So yeah, definitely the interest in motorsports extends beyond just NASCAR.
Awesome.
Kim, what can we expect from the Daytona 500 this year? Is it going to be similar to the 2017 500?
That is anybody's guess right now. It doesn't matter if you talk to media, if you talk to officials, if you talk to drivers, teams. There's a lot of unknowns because, like I mentioned when we were first talking, we're not going to see what 40 of these next-gen cars in a draft do until Sunday. Certainly people weren't mixing it up yesterday in practice too much. It was pretty calm. I expect the same of the remaining two practices we had. And then I think the dual races will be relatively calm. So it is honestly anybody's guess what happens on Sunday.
So what did you think of the Busch Light Clash? I tuned in for it, and I absolutely loved it. Loved the short track and just how fast they were getting around. What were your thoughts on the Busch Light Clash, and do you think that we'll be seeing more of these type of events to start the season off, or will it go back to Daytona?
Oh, I love the Clash. There's no reason for us to run the Clash at Daytona, I don't think. It's been all of its years here until we moved it this year. We get our fill of racing at Daytona through Speed Week. We have practices and qualifying and the dual races and the 500, and then Truck Series is here, the Xfinity Series. So I think it's nice and refreshing to see it at different venues. I was at LA Coliseum for the Clash. The energy there was electric. It was, something the sport needed, a breath of fresh air. So I'm so excited because I think this opens the doors for us to do a lot of other things in the sport that we maybe hadn't considered before.
You were just mentioning some of the other events that lead up to the Daytona 500. What's your favorite event when you're able to kind of watch?
Oh, gosh. Favorite event that I get to watch. It's been so long since I've gotten to actually, enjoy and watch a race. Honestly, the Clash at the Coliseum, because I was covering the race, but I was positioned in a spot where I got to take in the race, that was really cool for me. Just because it was new, it was different. I know I just said this, but a breath of fresh air. And so I'm excited to see kind of what else NASCAR has up its sleeve in terms of shaking things up. But I like the exhibition races. So the Clash, also the All-Star race, there's no points on the line. It is a different vibe than when teams are out here trying to get points, trying to win championships. And it's fun. It mixes it up a little.
Well, while you were sitting there watching the Clash, inside the iconic Coliseum there, did you notice, maybe a difference in the type of fans that were there to watch, or was it just kind of a traditional NASCAR type fan base?
No, it was a mix of everything. We had what you would call, traditional race fan. I think I saw a stat where 70% of the people there, it was their first NASCAR event they'd ever been to. We saw young people, old people, people of, all different backgrounds. There was a section of college students, which was very cool. That kind of, I guess there was a partnership with SC since that's where their home field is. The crowd was electric. The variety of different people in the crowd was so special and exciting for where the sport's going in the future.
So you've been to all of the tracks now. And you just mentioned the stat of 70% of the people that were there at the LA Coliseum were first-time race attendees. In your opinion, what's the best track for someone who's never been to a NASCAR race to go indulge in the sport?
I would say probably, short tracks make it a little bit easier to see all the action, but it just honestly depends on kind of what's your vibe, what do you like to do outside of taking in the race, depending on, what city we're in. Road courses tend to have a more laid-back vibe. So, honestly, it really depends on personality, and I know everybody's different. But if I had to, say one type, probably a short track would be ideal for a first race experience.
When Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin owning a NASCAR team, have you had the pleasure of being able to ask a question or two to MJ?
I have not. I have seen him at the races, but I have yet to get to interview him. So that's definitely on the list of hopefully things I can check off at some point.
That is awesome, Kim. We look forward to hearing you this weekend on the Daytona 500. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No doubt. Would love to have you back on in the future if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, sounds great.
All right, we'll get together. Thanks so much. That was Kim Kuhn, ladies and gentlemen. Done a lot of things with the Motor Racing Network. You can hear this weekend Daytona 500 coming to you live right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Cover starts at 12:30. Flag drops at 1:30 p.m.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida presents 500 miles of paint swapping, fender bending tradition. Since 1959, the home of legends has been the Daytona 500. Coverage starts at 12:30, flag drops at 1:30. Listen in ultra-high fidelity this Sunday on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Make Diego's Burrito Factory and Margarita Bar on Thomas Drive your football headquarters. Catch all of your favorite teams and the biggest games while enjoying the best Mexican food on the beach. Diego's Burrito Factory also has beer and margarita specials during every live football game. Diego's Burrito Factory, Thomas Drive and Front Beach Road. Diego's Burrito Factory. Come let us roll you a fat one.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. They say history repeats itself. World War I, World War II, Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But when we come back, I'll share with you some automotive history about a certain bug's life.
The Car Clinic Minute. It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
A Bug's Life could be the autobiography of the VW Beetle, which made history twice. It was originally named KDF Wagon, aptly meaning strength through joy. This odd-shaped little car, brainchild of Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, was designed with the backing of Adolf Hitler, who announced its birth at a Berlin exhibition in 1938. Out of production for almost 20 years, the VW was reborn in 1998. Its popularity with baby boomers and Gen Xers ensures life long into the 21st century. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, you are now riding with the Afternoon Underdogs 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Blab TV does a great job with their production. Make sure you get the app for your Fire Stick or for your Roku TV. Get the Blab TV app, and you can watch all kind of sporting events and whatever else they have on Blab TV. Lots of great stuff there. Man, 2 months away from the draft, but it looks like the Jacksonville Jaguars, according to mock drafts, are going to be going with offensive tackle out of Alabama, Evan Neal, with the first overall pick. Is that where they need to go? Is the offensive lineman what they need to shore up? Or what should be the first pick? Or do you go Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end from Michigan?
I think I agree with how it's set. I think Evan Neal or even Akwanwu would be a good one also.
You got to go line.
Either of the two, I think, is what they need. They're very similar to the Bengals in that, they need probably 2 or 3 linemen completely to be overhauled, right?
Right.
And it's almost the exact same thing with the Bengals. The full right side and center all really need to go. And I think the same thing is going over there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd be very surprised if they didn't go offensive tackle to start.
Now, could they go pull a page straight out of the Bengals playbook and just go with a dynamic wide receiver that he played with in college? Is Justin Ross available? Will Justin Ross not Justin Ross, what's the kid that just killed us in the national championship when it was like 44-16, and he was injured last year? Maybe it is Justin Ross. I'll have to look up the Clemson wide receivers, though. But
it was a young man that his neck was hurt and he wasn't able to play. You talking about that guy?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's who it is. I mean, the whole thing for me is, you've got you think you have your franchise.
It is Justin Ross, yeah.
You have, but they got Etienne.
Yeah, they got Etienne, but that's the running back, and
they played together,
right?
So I mean, it's still an explosive weapon that you got. That he could be the slot guy. He could be out of the backfield. You never know. But I mean, there's some chemistry there. He just unfortunately Etienne got hurt.
At the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
I think like during preseason he was hurt.
Yeah. I mean, if you are convinced as the Jacksonville Jaguars that Trevor Lawrence is your guy, which I think he is, then you got to do what you got to do to protect him.
Yeah, and that's most important because it's not like they're hurting in the wide receiver position. Maybe they're not exceptional. Chenault not bad. DJ Chark pretty good. But absolutely, what's the point of upgrading or getting better receivers if you can't get the ball to them?
Yeah, 100% agreed there.
So yeah, it's a very similar comparison, like I say, to the Bengals.
So an offensive lineman should be coming off the board very first, unless a trade happens or something like that. But if you're Jacksonville, I don't know why you would want to move out of that number one spot, because that's what you need, right, as an offensive lineman. And that's kind of where we're at, is the trenches are going to dominate the first couple rounds of the NFL draft this year.
I would disagree. I think the offensive linemen right now it's probably the strongest portion of this class of draftees. And with Jacksonville having the number one pick, they could easily still get one of the top 3 offensive linemen and turn that one pick into 2 or 3 more and maybe even some capital. So if you just were to drop down to 4th place, swap with the Jets, you have opportunity there maybe to grab another second or maybe 2 picks, a second and a third round pick, as well as that 4th pick. And again, like I said, maybe even, some capital, whether it be a person, a player or somebody, handing over a little bit of cash.
Well, let's look at the number 2 draft. The Lions drafting in second position this year is Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, that it seems to make a lot of sense. I think that the Lions have a lot of holes that they've got to fill, but is that one of those guys that can? I mean, you look a few years ago, 10 years ago now, Ndamukong Suh coming out and being that guy for the Lions, and really didn't translate into a lot of wins. But I don't know. This kid could be one of those guys that just you draft him and he shores up your defense. Maybe not makes or breaks it, but he definitely will shore it up. What do the Lions need to do with their second pick?
I think they're doing the right thing. I think that what they have to do is work from the lines in both the offensive line and the defensive line backwards. So you got to start there. You got if you're going to go defensive line in the first round, you got to be looking offensive line on the other side, and then work your way back. And they've never done that. It's always been pick here, pick there, pick here, pick there. And what they need to do is have a plan. Like, I mean, even Jerry Jones, as crazy as he is, he's been fairly good at when they said and they drafted 4 offensive linemen in a row first, and then all of a sudden, man, 2 or 3 years later, they had an offensive line that could really do something. Right. So I think that's where the Lions have to do, is to have a strategy and keep a regime together long enough to where that strategy can play out.
And that's the thing. And if the strategy has to do with, alleviating the thought process of the draft and going and try to draft you a new CEO or something. Get Rod Woods out of there. Let's get somebody in there that's going to make a plan that will think about the progress of making this team better in the future, not just being complacent. And like we see a lot of teams, unfortunately, it's just a business.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be. They should be looking to progress and get better.
And and if they want to, there's multiple strategies. You can take the Ram strategy of just forget draft.
Well, if we're going to be drafting that late in the first round, yeah.
Why not?
Right.
But or you can just go, we're going to go spend a bunch of money, which I don't see that happening for the Lions.
Nope.
So their option is they need to be good at drafting, but they never have the patience to really let it come to fruition.
Right. Or even if they do make a good draft choice, they don't make good decisions afterwards
around that, right,
to shape that draft choice or protect it. In the case of a Matt Stafford, as we saw for years.
Absolutely. Houston, Texas mocked to have Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame. Who knows which way they go? They've got also kind of like the Lions. They've got a lot of holes to fill. Kayvon Thibodeau, though, that's the next one I want to talk about, has kind of been falling down the draft chart a little bit because one of the reasons is his performance at the Super Bowl. He just doesn't play with the same fire that some of the other top prospects are playing with. So they've got Kayvon Thibodeau heading to the New York Giants in this mock draft. This is a Todd McShay mock draft right here. Kayvon Thibodeau to the New York Giants. Where do you think Thibodeau will go, though? How far will his stock rise again, or is it just gonna drop and he'll be a 5th pick instead of top 3 pick?
I think he'll be lucky to stay in the top 10.
Ooh, so keeping on sliding then.
Whenever somebody starts to question your motor, right? Unless you're LaDavian Clowney and you have a video play that becomes iconic, you're going to drop. And with his performance in the playoff games was not that impressive. And I just think that he's going to once the questions are there, then people are going to start trying to avoid you unless they have time to really study you and really figure out where your head is.
What do the Patriots need to do?
I absolutely agree with you on that one, by the way.
Or do you stick on Kayvon Thibodeau if you like? Yeah.
Either way, sure. Yeah, I mean, Kayvon, I absolutely agree with you. I think that he's going to be dropping, and again, maybe not substantially, but maybe as far as 10, 11, or 12. You know, if the Jets have 2 picks right there, I wouldn't be surprised if the picks that they have right here are actually completely swapped. I wouldn't be surprised if they took Stingley first and then waited till 10 and dropped drop down Thibodeau and take him there. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I do see that being a possibility, like you said, a good possibility of him going to the Jets either way.
Jets or Giants? So moving up a little bit to the Jets.
I'm sorry.
Which will only be
Drop
one
down
spot.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you know how that Senior Bowl can play out, man. You've got NFL coaches there, coaching staffs, not just coaches, and these guys know what they're looking for. You know what I mean? So if you're taking plays off, they're gonna take notice of that, and then you're gonna slide down the.
And it's a game where it can make your career or it can kill your career.
Mm-hmm.
And in his case,
look at Justin Herbert, man.
Yeah, look what it did for Justin Herbert. And in his case, unfortunately, he didn't put his best forward. So now he's going to have to really show out in the combine, and he's going to have to really show out in the interview process to be able to convince these GMs and coaches that his motor is real, because it didn't look too good.
It's so crazy because you look through Todd McShay's mock draft, and, like I said, there's a lot of hog mollies, a couple of defensive backs in the top, but a lot of hog mollies in the top 10, and then you start looking, and that's when the draft, like, once you get past the 9th pick, it's like, oh, man, these names, are like, wow. Derek Stingley Jr., he didn't they've got him going to the Jets, and then the first quarterback comes off at pick 11. Like I said, this is a mock draft, so it's wrong. But Kenny Pickett, it is, you know how it goes. But Kenny Pickett, first quarterback off the board to the Washington Commanders. Another notable one, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. They got him going to the Cleveland Browns from Ohio State, right? That kid was really, really good. Philadelphia Eagles via the Dolphins, Nakobe Dean. That would be huge for the Eagles to get a guy like that. Treylon Burks is a name. Malik Willis to the Steelers via mock trade with the Chargers. Matt Corral to the New Orleans Saints. I mean, these are very interesting. Treylon Burks to the Eagles. The speed there with Devontae Smith and Treylon Burks, that could be very interesting. Big Jordan Davis to the L.A. Chargers. And then at number 21 is when the New England Patriots are going to be picking. They've got them with cornerback out of Washington, Kyler Gordon. What move do the Patriots need to make?
Well, I think that's, our cornerbacks are actually relatively solid, and I'm surprised that they had that pick there. For me, I could see us going for somebody on defense. My issue, though, is in the middle. We need some faster linebackers.
Dante's getting them.
That's absolutely
too old.
Yeah, our biggest need on defense. Cornerbacks, we look relatively strong. On offense, however, I think that we need to go for a wide receiver, right? We paid a lot of money to Nelson Aguilar. I think it was about $15 million or $14.5 million. So whether or not we drop him, we have a $10 million cap hit coming up for that either way. But is it worth us even giving him that other $5 million just to keep him around, or could we utilize it somewhere else? So for me, I think that we're fortunate in that these two wide receivers, both from Alabama, both had injuries that probably would have been top 10 wide receivers, but are now going to drop into the 20s and maybe even one of them drop into the second round. So I think there's a good possibility that we see what's been happening a lot in the NFL, right? We're seeing a lot of quarterbacks that are getting drafted have their wide receivers drafted that they've played with in college within the next couple of seasons, and I think that might happen with the Patriots. I'd really like to see Jameson or Mechie III come up to New England with the 21st pick.
Hey, I love those those type of duos. That would mean that every Alabama quarterback in the league has an Alabama wide receiver. Man, that's a pretty cool little stat there. You look over at one of my favorite guys in this year's draft. Man, I don't know how he performed at the Senior Bowl or if he even participated, but Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, number 11. If you did not have your eyes on number 11 when Florida State was playing the game, then I don't know what you were missing. But they've got him going number 23 to the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, yeah. Right State Chris says, don't forget to mention Sauce Gardner's mock draft. Yeah, you're right, too, actually, because he's really high up there. Number 6 with the Carolina Panthers, which I believe, I can't remember what Stephon Gilmore. Oh, no, they're going to be free agents, Dante Jackson and Stephon Gilmore, so they're definitely going to need another cornerback. But Ahmad Sauce Gardner is mocked up at number 6 to the Carolina Panthers right now. But that one's going to be tough, too, because they're kind of in quarterback la-la land where they don't know what's going on. Is Sam Darnold? I don't know, man. I can't say. I was adamant about, like, yeah, Sam Darnold this year, y'all watch out for him. And that was about like me saying, no, the Bengals need to go with Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase. I was wrong. Ahmad Sauce Gardner, number 6 to the Panthers. Some other interesting ones, Atlanta Falcons, right? Don't know what's going on with Calvin Ridley, so they've got them at number number 8, taking Drake London, wide receiver out of USC. That wouldn't be too bad of a pick. I really like Derek Stingley Jr., though, cornerback from LSU, and where they've got him mocked to number 10, the New York Jets via Seattle. So they went mainly offense last year, right, in the draft. So you've got to balance that out, right, and go defense.
Right, absolutely. To jump back real quick before we take commercial, I'm actually interested to see how Jermaine does. You brought him up, number 11 for Florida State. He's had such an interesting story. I don't know if any of you have ever noticed, but he was actually, before he made it to Florida State, he was at a community college before Georgia, and he was on Last Chance U, which is a TV show that's on Netflix that follows kids that are struggling to make it to D1. And so not only was he, he's from a small place, Eden Prairie in Minnesota, went to a small college, but then made his way up to Division I, got to the FSU team after not playing enough in Georgia, played great this season, now has the opportunity to make it maybe in the first or second round of the NFL draft. Pretty amazing story.
They got, listen to this, and this will be crazy if Sam Howell falls all the way, but to 32, who owns that pick, right? The Detroit Lions via the Los Angeles Rams. So not only do they get Jared Goff out of the deal, which, the Rams won the deal because they got the Super Bowl, but they could get 2 quarterbacks out of that one trade. I don't know if that helps them win any more games or not, but it'd be interesting.
I don't think the Falcons need to draft a wide receiver.
What do you think they need to do?
They need to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's time. I mean, they got to start thinking about Matty Ice is not he's not going to play for more than a couple of more years, I think. And so they got to have somebody, and they don't have anybody in the fold right now. Their backup guy is what's his name from Florida that went to Arkansas, Felipe
Franks. That's right. Prototype for an NFL quarterback. We're going to be right back with a high school spotlight, USA Olympics as well. 7:30 tonight. We'll get you to the coverage of the Auburn-Vanderbilt game. Until then, it'll be Paul Feinbaum. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Auburn basketball returns to the Auburn Sports Network.
Alley-oop, Cambridge on the weak side. 18-2. Underneath, K.D. Johnson with the right-hand hammer.
Tonight, the Tigers host the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Johnson, hardball Johnson. Hessler, double-hand damage. Lobs it, Cambridge, right-hand hammer.
Coverage begins at 7:30 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
My forecast overnight, partly cloudy skies, 55 to 60, and east wind about 10-12 miles per hour. There's a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Thursday night. Partly to mostly cloudy, windy, south wind up to 30. The high Thursday around 72, 58 Thursday night. More showers expected Friday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick. And all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken. All served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft Sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
We have some trick-or-treaters. Happy Halloween. Not the IRS.
Afraid of some scary folk showing up at your door? Not ghouls and goblins. Tax collectors. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes and haven't filed in years, the IRS wants you to pay up. The IRS can freeze your bank accounts, but you don't have to face this monster alone. Call the Tax Doctor for a free case review of $500 value. The Tax Doctor has years of experience to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress.
Not again. Are you supposed to be a superhero?
No, I'm the Tax Doctor.
Don't fear the IRS. Call now.
800-520-0735. 800-520-0735. 800-520-0735. That's 800-520-0735.
You want a big-time sports show? Tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
I'm going to send you up against the best.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
The need for speed.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. If you want your taxes and you want them done right and you made less than $63,000 in the year 2021, head on down to the Glenwood Community Center, 722 East 9th Street. They're closed now, but Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, they go from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Walk-ins only. Make sure you have your driver's license or photo ID, checkbook for direct deposit of any refunds, social security cards for yourself and all dependents, W-2 from each employer, no pay stubs, documentation of all other income, and a 1095-A if you received health care coverage through the marketplace. Let's get into some scores that we have from last night. Old School, you want to start with the 4A region final? No, you don't. So.
Absolutely. So the 4A regional final, this is Old School 1986. South Walton went into West Florida and gave them a shellacking 3-0. And then, of course, after that, we have high school boys and girls basketball where the new Old School can hop on it.
So this is the 4A region semifinals. So Rutherford takes down Jackson 62
We finally got that flux capacitor right.
Finally got it. And Bishop Kenny puts a double shellacking on South Walton. Wow.
Let's go back to that real quick. Rutherford, big congratulations to them for taking down Andrew Jackson. And I had this wrong. Max Preps, I guess, is different where they list the home team first, where I was getting my information from. And so I had it all backwards on where these games were being played and whatnot. But big kudos to Rutherford for winning the 4A region semifinals. Keep it rolling, Old School.
In the 6A region semifinal, St. Augustine took on Fort Walton Beach. They came away with the victory 43-37. In the 1A region finals, Paxton takes on Ponce de Leon, and Ponce de Leon comes away with the victory 39-34, and Chipley loses to Port St. Joe 54-45.
Absolutely. And then get out to Gavlac tonight. This is another one that I was off a little bit on, but Arnold and Gulf Breeze tonight, Gavlac Stadium, big implications on the line for a playoff soccer game. Let's go Marlins in the USA. Boston Tim.
Yeah, real quick while we're still on the locals, big shout out. I know we mentioned it the other day, but Bay High got their first District 1 4A championship in 6 years with Coach Rusty, who we've had on a couple times. Thank you very much for coming on, Rusty, and congratulations to you guys winning against North Bay Haven. And they'll have the first game coming up 7 o'clock Thursday night at home. They're the number 3 seed, and they're facing the number 6 seed again, North Bay Haven.
Yeah, Bay.
So good
luck. Yeah, no doubt. That's going to be a crazy game. I texted Coach Cook about that, and it just has to do with the ranking, so God bless Max Preps.
Right. Just happen to fall in that way. Yeah.
Class 6A All-State athletes from Mosley. They got 8 Mosley Dolphins selected to the FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com 6A All-State football team. We'll be talking more about that tomorrow. 8 players?
That's awesome.
That way to go. Team USA last night falls to
8-5-0 strong, right?
There you go, no doubt. Team USA falls to Slovakia 3-2 in the shootout last night. Canada lost 2-0, I believe, to Sweden. Go ahead.
So, as you guys know, statistics is kind of the thing that kind of drives me in sports. And so here's my thing. In professional hockey, if you pull your goalie in the last 90 seconds of the game, there's a just under 10%, a 9.9% chance that you have the opportunity to score a goal. With a lesser group in amateur level and or college level, it is almost cut in half at about 5.6% of the time, where if you pull your goalie in the last 90 seconds, they're going to score a goal. These guys had to have played some poor defense in the last 45 seconds to give up a goal.
I was watching it, and I can't say that it was on poor defense as much as back against the wall for Slovakia, and just the cards fell right.
And they had to fall perfect because
they
there's
did.
a 95%
There was
chance
like
that
45
USA should have won the game.
Yeah.
43.6 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, man. Really tough. Strauss-Mann was on his head for a lot of the game, too, because Slovakia scored in the first period to open it up, and then it was like I'm watching the game. I'm like, okay, we're moving on, and then they score in that last little bit. We controlled overtime.
Right.
We controlled the shootout until the fourth shooter for Slovakia, and he just snuck it right past Strauss-Mann, and it's a tough way to go. But I gotta say that I was a little apprehensive at first, like, because it's not the NHL stars that I'm used to in the NHL or in the Olympics, right? Team USA did a great job.
100%.
Nathan Smith out of Florida, great job. The road is looking up for United States hockey.
Yeah, and to think that we did it, again, like you said, without any of the NHL players, only amateur players, some college players, and to think that we did as well as we did is exceptional. Literally the game away from the medal round.
No doubt. And
Nobody even
tonight,
thought us to get that far.
Tonight, yeah, no doubt, 100%. Well, they were favored a little bit more than normal this year because of it being mostly collegiate athletes. Women's hockey tonight, 10:10 Central Time versus Canada for the gold medal game. We've got 8 gold medals so far. Let's keep it rolling. And then also, what do you got, Old School?
Oh, I was just going to complain about the Russians again.
Oh, we don't got time for
Shooting
that.
us
We'll
to
be back
bird.
tomorrow at 4. Old School will be complaining about the Russians, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the PGA Tour. We're out. Be back at 4 tomorrow.
104.3 ESPN.